in my career, right? If I really need to think, I split my career into two halves. Like one half I was really following a very linear path, and the second half is when I started following the non-linear path. And there were, a lot of factors that led to it. I think eventually, if you are in a long haul, uh, in for example, if you want to stay in a domain for a longer period of time, then to master the skills in that domain and then grow up the ranks. I think that is one part that I did in the first half of my career. And the second half of my career, it is being more an approach of a gig based approach to a career, in which I think, like, what I do right now, I do it for 2 3 years horizon, and then I'll figure out like what I need to do next. I think this is what how gig workers normally operate. I think that is that whole concept applied to this. I think my last half of the career has been just around my every my next job was not related to my last job, which means I could apply the meta skill, and that is very intentional path that I took. Okay, so to apply your question, in the first part where you are in a linear career, you need to figure out what your domain is, what are the technologies that you're working on. You stack the skills which are needed and constantly work to update. When I say stack the skills, I mean not only do certification, that gives a lot of satisfaction to see, I have done a certification, but apply it somewhere, right? I think that example that I gave of a guy who just did a simple Excel automation, but he knew what the problem was
Correct.
typically. So, identifying the gaps in your workplace, identifying the problem areas which matter is the first skill, and then application of skills to solve those problems and do it constantly over a period of time. And while you do that over a period of time, take up the problems uh, which are more complex in nature, which are more which can really help you stand out in the company. Okay, if you're doing a non-linear path, I think I look at it like for the last half of my career, it is like I did technical operations, then I headed innovation, then I was heading product management, then I was heading strategy and operations, then I'm doing marketing now. So that is very intentional. I wanted it to be this way. So in that case, I know that my time frame that I have set for myself is
Got it.
um, 2 to 3 years, which means that I need to be able to put myself in a situation that I can learn that skill fast enough, and show constant value to the organization there. So one concept that I'll leave you with is, I think there is given the I'm assuming most of the audience is from India. I think given our education system, we have a lot of
Yeah.
emphasis on being best in the every field that we want to do. There is nothing wrong with it. I think school may we always used to think we want to become
Yeah, you want to be the best.
toppers. Then I think then in
Yeah.
that gets translated to workplace. I want to get best
Workplace.
rating and etc. etc. I think it kind of that mindset shows. But what I'm trying to twist that mindset a little bit when I say this is that aim to be unique and not necessarily always the best. Okay, so the democratized environment that we live in right now, where we talk about internet has democratized almost everything, that
Everything.
values uniqueness a lot, right? You can be best at 10 things, but I think if you're unique at two things and you that helps you stand out, that often creates more value to your career than anything else which is there. So it's important, and to summarize, I think it's important to know what good looks like in the path that you've chosen. It's important to know what greats looks like in the path that you've chosen, and then you just uh, I heard Kunal Shah say this in uh, one of the podcasts, and it quite resonated with me. It just said like in that framework, you just figure out like where you want to be, and then you write down like 10 obstacles that are stopping you from reaching that
Correct.
goal of yours, then I think those 10 obstacles becomes your goals that you have
Goals,
to,
yeah.
yeah, that you have to overcome to become what you want to become.